It's Dr. Manny from Break the Cage MD. Uh, we're on number 33 of 50 in the digital publishing is part of the series. Just so you remember, the earlier part was entrepreneurship is. And as I'm thinking through the set, I've decided to rename the last part physician publishing is. The hope is that, well, the plan is that I'm going to go back and take the first two sets of contexts and adjust them so that both both hierarchies is the only that comes to mind right now. Both hierarchies fit under the idea of the physician publishing mindset, goal, skill set, whatever. So, number 33, digital publishing is attraction. So, last time during the entrepreneurship is, we talked about that attraction. The key word in there is traction. And if we're doing the attraction in the context of the action, which the action is the goal directed thing, we want to look at the traction related words because those are the words where you're going to lose traction. So traction is progress towards the goal. Um, so if the goal is gaining market share, it's getting your message out to more people. If the goal is building a relationship, it's developing more intimacy, getting more time with the person. Each transaction, each piece of time being more valuable, more intimate, less scripted. Now, where where can traction go wrong? One element where you lose traction is distraction. Uh, the idea of distraction is that instead of doing the action, we discussed this in the other one in yesterday's session. Instead of doing action, which is goal directed, you're pulled off your mission by shiny object, by a perceived threat, by a sense of threat to identity, threat to meaning, where instead of working on the thing, you're either doing some symbolic self completion type of behavior, uh, you're validating your sense of self worth, you're licking your wounds, you're off getting drunk, off arguing with someone who is never going to actually work as a customer, a partner, a friend, a relationship. Uh, that's the whole. If you're putting out content, you're going to attract haters and trolls. Do you want to be out there arguing with trolls? The standard rule is don't feed the trolls. These are people who are not interested in getting to where you're trying to get. So that's where qualification comes into play, uh, and not just sales qualification, but vetting a relationship. Is this someone who eventually will want to travel with me to my end goal and will help me? And even more specifically, are they someone who right now is at a place where they're willing to help me, or will they be more of, if you use the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell's metaphors, archetypes, is this someone who's going to be more of a jester, a trickster, a distractor? Um, for now, are they going to be more? Are they going to be more weight to bear versus a tool for the journey? That's distraction. Another traction is abstraction. This is legitimization, code theory. This is like the whole semantic wave idea. When you're publishing, you want your stuff at the level of abstraction where people read it and they feel emotionally attracted to it. They see that it resonates with them. It speaks at a level where it builds rapport. If not, you lose traction there because they don't care. They think it's too vague. They might just get frustrated. A lot of people have a certain level of tolerance for uncertainty. If you're communicating with them in a different context, uh, they're in a hurry to get somewhere. And the more they're in the hurry to accomplish a specific goal, the more that jumping to too high a level of abstraction fails to meet the promise that you made at the beginning of the engagement. It's sort of a why are we having this discussion when the headline was how to bake cookies. Why are we halfway into the article talking about, I don't know, how to clean a swimming pool? So it's a relevance factor. It's a sort of a needs fulfillment factor. If you lead in with something as your headline, as your chapter header, as the subject in the email that you send, as any piece of digital content, as the title in the YouTube, as the tags in the YouTube, then you're making a promise as to what the content of that piece of content, of that piece of information, of that piece of published media is when the person digs deeper into it. If you violate that promise, you've lost trust in that relationship. Uh, you've wasted the person's time, and you've decreased the likelihood that next time they're going to engage in a transaction with you and explore further. A lot of times, if you get them to rage quit, they unfollow you, and they now, even when they're reading your stuff, they're reading your stuff in sort of a dissociated, filtered way. They've moved you to a different level of disclosure. Um, yeah. So uh, a lot of the permission marketing stuff addresses this. Seth Godin's work, where within the relationship you have initial permission to engage. You say, "Hey, can I send you emails in your private mailbox?" And they're like, "Okay, sure." You send them spam. You've sort of you lose traction that way. That's not attraction. Attraction is piquing the curiosity, changing the curiosity into interest by continuing to provide um, mutually beneficial, valuable transactions, moving the interest into implications and meaning so that your conversations are more meaningful to them. They're finding that the content you send them has not just relevance, but comes into play when they reach in their own mental models. Um, yeah. So just want to make sure I'm capturing those. So traction, and under traction, we're looking at the sub elements of distraction and abstraction. So, Dr. Manny, break the cage, MD.